Hello and welcome back, my friends. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you an amazing gardening technique that you can apply in your garden and grow some wonderfully abundant edible crops. Check it out. All right, so I'm getting ready to plant out this squash plant here on my Hugelkultur mound. You can see how parched and dry the mound is, yet we have all this green life occurring atop the mound. And that's because this mound has done a wonderful job soaking in some of the winter rains and absorbing it into the decaying breakdown of wood products that we have just below the soil. All right, so I'm going to prepare this space here, dig in using my hori. So you can see the moisture here in the mound, even though it hasn't seen rain or any moisture from myself in, I don't know, 4 weeks. So this is kind of amazing. And we've got worms in here. Oh, it just fell away. And here's some of those wood products I was talking about breaking down. These are like a sponge soaking in the moisture and then releasing it into the surrounding soil. If you want to learn more about Hugelkultur gardening, check out the playlist down below in the description box. I've got several videos explaining to you how this technique works and how you can apply it in your garden. Here's another piece of wood, and look at that breakdown. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is adding some nutrition into this hole in the form of fish, which has a long history of usage dating back thousands of years. Fish has been used as the perfect garden fertilizer. It carries an NPK value of around 511. That's 5 nitrogen, so it's mostly high in nitrogen, but it also contains phosphorus and potassium to make a complete fertilizer. Now, what I'm going to actually be throwing into this hole today is none other than a can of tuna fish. Now, this particular can of tuna comes in a bit of water with no salt added. That would be preferable, although even a traditional can of tuna with salt would work for this as well. It's a small enough amount of salt that it's not going to cause damage to your soil profile or your plants, as I've proven with my sardine technique, which I use, which is very similar to this. Also, this particular can of tuna fish is certified sustainable catch, so that's important. Now, what makes this technique valuable to a gardener, really, it comes down to the cost of the tuna. If you're able to pick up some cans for around $1 at a discount store, that's going to be preferable. You don't want to be throwing a $2 or $3 can of tuna into your gardening hole, but for $1, you're actually getting great value on that money. And that's because a single feeding like this will actually feed whatever plant that you plant atop it, whether it's a tomato, a cucumber, in this case a squash, throughout its life cycle. This fish is going to break down ever so slowly, and as it does so, the microbes are going to come in and help to digest this material and create a really nice soil profile. And all the while, as the roots of the plant start to dive down deeper around the tuna, the plant's going to uptake some of that nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, along with some of the minerals that are in the fish. So just in case you're concerned that burying fish in your garden could attract wildlife or cats, which I've never had an issue with that here. We've got feral cats everywhere, raccoons, that sort of thing. There is another tip I want to share with you, and that is by simply adding in a bit of spent coffee grounds to the hole, you're going to effectively eliminate any smell. And besides that, it's adding even more nutrition into the hole, more nitrogen, a little bit of potassium and phosphorus. And as a side benefit, the worms, and there are several in this little hole, they love eating the coffee grounds. All right, so we got our tuna and our coffee grounds, and now we'll just add some of that soil back in that we excavated a moment ago. And now let's add in our squash plant. Look at those beautiful roots. Now, I know from experience this plant is going to thrive in this situation with those nutrients that we just added into the hole. And being that it's got a home now here on the Hugelkultur mound, it's going to be extra happy with the extra moisture that's provided. Welcome to your new home, curry squash. We're happy to have you here. We hope that you're comfortable and you produce abundantly. The abundance of plants around this squash are also going to help to, in a sense, insulate it from some of the colder temperatures. We are planting a bit early in the season here, but having a dense planting like this in your garden actually creates a little microclimate, and I found that I can get plants to survive even dips down below freezing if I plant it in a dense planting area like this. All right, so I'm just going to water this in really well. You want to eliminate any air gaps, air pockets in the soil around the roots. The heavier pouring of the water does a better job when you've got a lot of loose soil. And as an added precaution, I think I'm just going to throw this little mini greenhouse dome over the top as well, just until the plant gets established and we get into a bit higher temperatures. Now, I'm not necessarily recommending that you head out to the store and buy a whole bunch of tuna and bury it under the plants in your garden. Unless you find a great deal, then it's actually cost effective. But rather, there are some scenarios where using the tuna actually makes a lot of sense. For example, folks tend to stock up on canned goods like tuna as an emergency food supply. If any of those cans were to expire, this is a great way to utilize it rather than throw it out. The absolute best fish to use in your garden is whatever is available to you that you have that makes economical sense. Now, there's a lot of folks that go out fishing. If you catch fish and you bring it home for eating, be sure to use those guts, the head, the spine, any part of the fish that you're not going to consume should be buried under your plants. That way nothing goes to waste, and that's the best way to honor the animal, honor the earth. Another scenario is actually utilizing what's commonly referred to as junk fish, and these are fish that may be overwhelming a body of water. They're invasive in some way. They're not commonly utilized as a food source, so fish like carp or pike, there's a whole bunch of them. If you're in a situation where you're doing some fishing and you catch some of those type fish, those would also be excellent fish to add into the garden. And the third way is to actually pick up a fish fertilizer like something known as fish emulsion, which is a byproduct of the fishing industry. So again, rather than allow any of the fish to go to waste, you can pick up a bunch of the fish fertilizer and utilize that. That's more of a liquid feed. You're going to dilute it with water, so you're getting an instant boost to your plants. I like the idea of using whole fish because you're getting that slow feed over time. Here's some of my fish emulsion that I have on hand and does a wonderful job perking up plants that need a quick boost. Anyway, my friends, sometimes it's just good to know your options and understand what's available out there that you could utilize that may not be commonly marketed for gardening. There's a lot of different unique things that can be utilized in the garden that aren't commonly known. I just introduced two of them to you, tuna fish and spent coffee grounds. And the more you know, the more you can grow. Here we've got some beautiful arugula. Anyway, my friends, life is good in the garden. I hope you're able to find some time to get out into your garden today, get at least one thing done. It's a good goal to have and will get you on the road to an abundant growing season. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.